You ain't heard this stuff yet. Bottom of the notes.
Yes! G'day there, podcaster. Bottom of the notes. Meet the team. Belle, you good?
Yes, I'm good. These people are calling me, asking me to transfer
You can
money.
transfer it, it's fine.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Dude, I think, Ben, I didn't even think Ben was ready to start the
No,
podcast.
I know. I know.
You played bottom of the notes, even though we didn't meet the
Done
team.
the wrong intro.
We don't even. I could. Belle was like, "Can I just have a minute? I got to transfer these guys." And Ben was like, "Yeah, sure." Played the first intro in front of him to troll her.
You're right. This isn't bottom of the notes. This is Meet the Team. And I don't have an intro for Meet the Team. Remember we talked about this? We were looking for one. We don't have one. But we're very excited to meet the next member of the team. Belle's going to be a bit quiet until she's transferred that money.
It's literally take me 1 second.
That's all right. You do you, Belle.
It's on your time. Creative producer Dave, hello.
Hello, great to be here. I was worried that there was a new sting I hadn't heard yet. The segment was called Bottom of the Barrel. You got to get Dave on.
Dave, this is, we don't pick favourites, but this is probably one of my favourite Meet the Teams because you truly are behind the scenes. We don't get to see you in the off-air podcast the way we would. You do 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you come in at 10. So you're never actually in when we're doing the off-air podcast, because we'd love to get you in if you were.
And sometimes they run a little longer on the Friday, but that's not a day you're in. So for starters, can we hear a little bit about your role before we learn about the man, the myth, the legend?
Okay. So the role is I've been with you guys for about 6 months now.
Yeah, about 6 months.
Is it? Wow.
Time flies, Belle.
Yeah.
And I.
Oh, Belle, you're here. That's nice.
Yeah. Great to have you on, Belle.
Did you transfer that money over? You got the right
Yeah, I
PSP
did.
account?
Now I
Good.
have a TV. Yay.
Nice.
Hey. I come in and if anything, like there's any show production that needs writing, any introductions for any segments you got going on.
Yeah, I do like the title of creative producer because it's really good for those things where if we're doing a big story arc or if we're doing, say, Couch Hour, for example, I love that sometimes that stuff for us we don't think about until we get to it the day before, but then we have seen all this pre-production where we get like voiceover people to come in and voice stuff.
Yeah.
But then Dave will write them a bunch of stuff to say.
Normally when you hear like a sexy voice, like since the dawn of time or one of those things, it's like, people had learnt to sit on couches instead of rocks. Like that's like Dave, like he writes all that stuff.
And I definitely think it started off probably more collaborative in a sense that I reckon you were trying to figure out our sense of humour, but for me now you totally get it. Like I think that the way you write things, I'm like, oh, that's how we would have written it. I think it's like it feels like a hive mind.
It's fun. It's also fun, like when you hear, rather than like having to write it and then having it voiced.
Yeah.
When you just hear it for the first time, you're like, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
like you get to hear it as a listener.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But this is the thing. We said your first time on the mic, but that's not strictly true because the first time we met you, you did a bit for us because we got Belle onto the project when we were managing her at the start of the year, and she came into work and was like, oh my God, this comedian was like the hype guy for the project and was like warming crowd up. It was so good.
Right. We had you
and then
on.
we're like, we should get him on. And then, so then we got you on to warm the radio show up for us. Like we were saying, how that sucks how people on TV have people like get out there, do a few gags and stuff. So you warmed up some callers for us.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
They were all on the phone. It was one of the strangest experiences of
It
my
was
whole
probably
life.
pretty weird. It was probably pretty weird. You did a good job.
I
And then
appreciate
from
that.
that, we're like, oh man, that guy was great. Like we should like do more stuff with you. And then that's sort of like.
Well, often comedians, and this is no dig towards any specific comedians, but comedians can often not be great to work with in a professional point of view.
Yeah,
But I think you're good to work with.
I've worked with a few.
Yeah. They can be quite lazy sometimes and just like not reliable. That's what we found.
Yeah. Hey, and it's probably a great chance because this is sort of, and I'm not saying you're bottom of the barrel, Dave, but it's very much like we're in holiday podcast mode. So we're scraping together any old shit at the moment, but probably a great chance to plug the awesome podcast you do.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe people, I don't want them to stop listening to our show, but maybe in the holidays, if we're a little lighter on, maybe there's somewhere else they can look.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, we're not taking any time off on Do Go On, which is it's a comedy history show that we've been doing for about 8 years now, unbelievably. And yeah, we pick a topic from history. Could be anything from Dolly Parton to how McDonald's came about. And then there's three of
Ray
us.
Kroc. Seen
Exactly
the
the
founder.
guy, yeah.
I've seen the founder.
We've got a habit of doing, because it's been going for 8 years, we did that topic a couple of years before the movie came out.
Oh,
And people,
really?
you get so many tweets being like, "Have you seen? They've taken the movie. They've clearly listened to your podcast." It's like, no, that's probably been in production for a long time. Ray Kroc's a very famous story.
Yeah.
But people love to credit and say, "Yep,
I reckon they took that from the pod. It's an interesting story.
so
Have you seen The Founder, Bill?
No, I haven't.
a good
But
movie.
I was just thinking, like, 8 years you said you've been doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I would say safely, that's before podcasts were really
Oh
every
yeah,
second man was doing them.
You didn't just jump on in the
Yeah.
last couple of months.
No, mostly men.
Women can podcast.
Yeah, they can, but it's every dude I
You-
find. Every dude's like, yeah, I got a podcast.
Yeah.
This is a shameless podcast.
Yeah, sometimes it's embarrassing to
Oh,
bring
yeah,
up.
okay, sorry. Do go on, if I may say. Name some other female.
Life Uncut.
Yep, a bit
Yeah.
on. So
Yes.
there's 3 good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now you can name some male ones.
Call her daddy.
Call her daddy. One of the biggest podcasts in the world.
I'm just saying. So it's like, remember a few years ago,
The therapy
every guy,
crouch.
There you go. Liam and
Every
I
guy.
have done 5. Can you do one, Bill?
From female podcasts,
Mhm.
probably Abby Chatfield's.
There you go.
Maybe.
There's 6.
Yeah.
But
Look
like,
at
you know
us.
how back in the day every
Hey.
guy was a DJ? It was like, yeah, I DJ. Or like,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I feel like every guy's like, yeah, I got a podcast.
Ben and I were DJs for a hot minute.
We were.
Bangers
Of
and
course you
Mash.
were.
Bangers and Mash. Warmed up for Drood.
Who was Bangers? Who was Mash?
I think Ben was probably
I think I was
Bangers
Bangers 'cause Ben,
B,
yeah.
and then I'm second, Liam, Mash.
Yeah.
I'm just the Mash to the banger.
The man. The bush on the
but
side.
I don't want to interrupt too much. But I was thinking this could be a great opportunity for Ben, myself, and Dave to mansplain McDonald's, the
No,
foundation.
I want to spend this time getting to know Dave.
But just
I've
to
also,
quickly-
I've
I
also,
don't know.
I've also kind of forgot.
Can
I know.
can I do my best? And
Oh,
Dave's
yeah.
obviously done more research. I've just seen the movie.
Having said that, it was 7 years ago. This
Yeah.
podcast.
I know. Well, see if you can.
I just
fact check
remember
me.
when he says McDonald's. And I know the basics of how he
Yeah.
stole it, but I
Yeah.
just remember saying
So
McDonald's.
this is what I remember, and
We're not in the burger game. We're in the real estate game.
Yeah,
what he
that's very smart. Yeah. So you got the gist of it. But Ben and I actually went to see The Founder after our last ever show at Fresh 92.7 in Adelaide when we got our job
when
in
we were
Sydney.
bangers and mash.
Yeah, we went back in the Bangers and Mash days. So pretty wild night celebrating, going to see The Founder. But the way I understand it is, let's take you back to 1950s America. You got a milkshake maker salesman called Ray Kroc who's gone around to all these spots trying to sell his milkshake machines. He's not a very successful businessman. Then he stumbles across this particular place run by the McDonald brothers, and he just loved them burgers. They had fast service. They'd roller skate out to your car, and he loved the burgers. They were cheaply made, but more than anything, he loved the family name because it was very American. There's something very American about it, and so he kind of got into business with them, and he basically dicked them over, and he took. So Ray Kroc is the one who made McDonald's, and these McDonald's brothers didn't really see a cent from it.
Really?
And
So what happened to them? How did that
Oh,
happen?
I think they just sort of died, and they
I
were
think they
never
kept
really.
their original one, but then that
Yeah, they
went
kept their
under.
original one. No one cares. Like I think they were maybe McDonald's, and this was McDonald's. He took
Right.
McDonald's, and then from memory, Ray Kroc, as Ben said, he sort of worked out. Well, hang on, let's get in the real estate game rather than the burger game.
So McDonald's own all of the franchise's land,
and then
so
they lease it out
own
to
that.
people.
And then if you have a franchise, they give you the lease and you pay them for their property.
So they own like probably the most property in the world because they have just property. You drive past the Macca's every like 10 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah, but when you're saying so who's leasing it then?
McDonald's, the corporation, like
So
Ray Kroc,
they
it's
buy
like-
the land, they bankroll it, they buy it.
Yep.
But then if you want to open a Macca's, I go, okay, cool. So I own the franchise. So then I give you the franchise license,
Right.
and you pay me
Yes.
for,
to use
to
that
use
space, that
space.
land, yeah, which is quite a smart business model.
Is that about right, Dave?
Yeah. That sounds about right.
So in your podcast though, do you go through the history and
I nailed it. I'm not going to say.
Exactly.
So we go through the history of sort of whatever topic's been picked. Yeah.
yeah.
What's one of your favourites?
Yeah.
Oh, we've done the history of the penis.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
As in, like, when it was invented.
Just like we got our friend Alistair Trombley-Birchall on, he's great at researching a topic, and it was called Keen for Peen. People voted for it. They wanted us to talk about the history of the penis, so we just talked about penises and different animals.
Did you talk about the corkscrew of the duck?
Yeah, all of those
Probably-
gone through.
probably-
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
the
Did you
most
talk about the
interesting.
history of the dildo?
I don't know if we got into
'Cause that's interesting.
toys.
Didn't you read a book about that recently?
Yes.
Belle, do you want to come on and tell us all about the history of the dildo?
Honestly, there
That
is. So there's
sounds
this
really
girl.
interesting.
There's this girl whose book I read, and she's done a book called Kinky History. So it's the history of like everything fetish, kink, and everything, but also like she goes into the history of like where the first dildo was made and how
I-
What was it
looked
made
like.
out of? What was it fashioned out of?
Wood.
Shit.
So
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
no. So it was wood, and then it was like she's at like the top when they found it was a bit shiny and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, this looks like a dildo." But she's fantastic at the history and going deep diving into like if you want to know like the history of brothels, then she knows all about it. It's really interesting.
I went into a
What?
bookstore when I was in Warrnambool.
Mm.
And when I was in the said bookstore, I saw said book in question.
Did you?
Yeah, and I was like, that's the
With
book that
eggplant
Belle
on the
was
front.
talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, there you go. It stands out. It's very bright.
You give it a flick through?
I know I was looking at other books, but I didn't go. I didn't
That's
flip through
what
that
they
one.
all say.
I was holding my 12-week-old son in one hand. It'd be weird to pick that one up.
Is there any other? I mean, I feel like we've barely scratched.
Well,
the
can we
surface,
talk
but
about your
is-
other job? We
Sure.
allowed to?
Yeah, which
Would you say that we're your day job or that's your day job? at Channel 10?
interesting. So when I'm
Yeah,
doing the
true.
warm up for the project, okay, I'd say that's because I do that technically at evenings. Maybe this is my day job.
Yeah,
That's my night
cool.
job.
Yeah,
Doing the
true.
night shift.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've been there for quite a few years because I started out there as a producer on the project, doing comedy stuff. I was a comedy producer there, and editor. And basically, they've got a live audience every night. Comedian comes in, hypes them up, makes sure they have a good time, hopefully.
Which
And
you were very good at.
I appreciate that.
Do they? I mean, you're not going to spill anyway, but do they all get along? Like, because they, it's not like a radio show where it's like most people are like similar age and they're sort of similar. Like, they're very different walks of life, and they're obviously picked that way. Like Steve
Yep.
Price is, he's a bit older, and like, oh, well, I disagree with that. Like, are they? Is everyone pretty chummy?
Yeah, everyone's chummy and they all give a lot to the audience because they know, like, it helps if the audience is on side with
Yeah,
them.
okay,
Build a bit of
yeah,
rapport.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they
I
often
getcha.
come out, have a chat,
Oh, that's cool.
see if they've got any questions, that
Waleed,
kind of thing.
Waleed goes to my gym.
Does he? He loves a
fun
chat with
fact.
the audience. He really loves
Yeah,
it.
he was really good when I was
Yeah,
there.
he loves it.
I've never
Yeah.
said hi to him though.
Oh, he's a very smooth guy. Very
Yeah.
smooth. Yeah. And but I got that job because I knew the comedians that were doing, because I do stand up as well, who were doing the warm up one night and they didn't have someone, and then someone just walks past me whilst I was editing away some of the clips that we were going to put on the show that night, and he goes, "Huh, Warnicky could do it. Why don't you get him?" So that
Wow.
just
Oh, really?
threw me in. I went upstairs. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you just started, because you have great one-liners, I remember, that you were doing that was really funny.
Yeah, sort of build my shtick over the few
Yeah,
years.
very good.
That's
I now can't remember what they were,
That's
but
right.
they
That
were
was
fantastic.
all completely off the top of my dome, Belle. If you come back tomorrow night, I definitely
no,
won't be
that's-
saying any of the exact same
That's
things.
what I said. So I came into work the next day to the boys, and I was like, it's very obvious that you reel out the same shit every night.
Yeah.
But I respect it. I was like, this
wa-
is very
I
good.
wonder if anyone, you'd have your repeat customers coming
Oh,
back.
there
like,
were. There was
"We've
one
seen
woman."
this bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
You
there's
sort of know.
people-
You're like, oh no.
I walk
There
in
was
there.
crazy.
Sometimes, yeah, there are some regulars that treat the studio like their lounge room, like they watch the show from there, at least
Yeah.
once a week. They'll come in, and I see them, and I go, "I'm so sorry, you're about to hear this for the 50th time, but how we doing out there?"
Yeah. It's so great. Like,
It's
I
an
remember-
interesting because like, what do you apply online to be
No,
like? Do people just rock up or like how does it work?
oh,
Like-
to be in. Sorry, I think
Yeah,
you meant for the job. I
no,
think
no,
you
no,
meant
no,
for the-
no, no, no,
like it's
no,
on
no,
LinkedIn or
to be
something.
studio audience.
Yeah,
like,
so it's free to come along, and it's 6 nights a week. A couple are in Sydney and 4 in Melbourne, and yeah, you sign up via a website. It's
Is there like
Yeah,
background checks
right.
or anything, is there? Like, you could just let anyone in.
no, but I will say there is
Bell's
security.
trying to poke holes in the security
people,
briefing.
people are scanned with metal detector. It's very safe.
Yes, I
Because
remember. Yeah.
And yeah, it's a good show to be a part of, I reckon, because I've worked on a couple other shows sort of filling in casually, and they often will do at least 2 or 3 episodes with an audience because it's live, the
Yeah.
project, and it only goes for an hour. You're only there for a bit over an hour, so it's
I
fun.
actually went a couple of times and watched when Tom Ballard was doing Tonightly, and he used to come on our show and talk about Tonightly, and I was like, because it was like I lived kind of close to work, and it was just like they filmed it like at our work at the ABC, and I was like, I went with mates a couple of times because it was kind of interesting
Yeah.
because they would like someone would do stand up, and it was like actually like pretty good.
I went to the recording of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Did
When I was-
you?
Yeah, I was like 12.
That would have been
When
like, that would have been
Rove
really
was
cool.
hosting?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
mate, no,
That would've
but
been
we
a
were
thrill.
kids. Went with her mum.
I
Just
also
for a
went to a
birthday.
filming of Whovians starring
you?
Rove. This was all like when we were living in Sydney.
Yeah,
'cause
didn't
it's
you
like,
get heckled or something? Because you hosted. Remember you hosted that Doctor Who thing and you got heckled?
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't on Whovians. That was just a Doctor Who event in Adelaide.
That
yeah.
you were
I was
emceeing,
hosting, and I actually did
and
like
then you
Doctor
got
Who,
you got
and then
called out.
Someone said, you don't even know anything about Doctor Who.
Why did you take that gig?
No, I used to
He
love
did.
Doctor Who. I
He liked-
actually
Oh.
No,
genuinely
but so
love
Liam's
Doctor
like
Who.
a fan.
Yeah.
But there's
I
like
think-
mega fans.
Like, look,
so I'd say if you were doing like the Venn diagram of people who can MC and people who are actually into Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liam's definitely in that small crossover.
Yeah.
But maybe he's not in the mega
Look,
fan
that's
zone.
so
I
funny.
could
So the
tell
mega
you-
fans were calling him out.
For
That's
sure.
so funny.
I could tell you a few things about the time and relevant dimension in space and Davros and the Daleks and Cybermen.
When were you
and-
watching Doctor Who? Like what age?
Triple J was obsessed with it.
Really?
Oh, really?
I literally,
He used to come in wearing a Doctor Who shirt. Remember with the little dialects on it?
yeah,
The blue shirt, with the little
with
white
little
dialects?
on it.
And then, but are they like you? Like, name the ninth Doctor. Prove it.
I think she was. I think she was yelling stuff out like that.
Yeah, it was literally like I got called out and I was like,
And
well,
I think you
shut
kind of.
up,
I
like-
can't remember the day after you told the story on the radio, and so it was very fresh in your mind. But you almost transcribed the argument you had with this woman because she had to go at you in the
She
front
said,
row.
well, you don't even know anything about it. That's the main thing I remember. And I was like, where did that come from? Like, and I,
We had the female Doctor Who on the show for an interview.
yeah, we had Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah.
Like when she
I don't
became.
remember you being really
No,
excited.
because I dropped by then.
Oh.
not just because she came
There we
in.
go,
Okay,
here we go,
no,
here
I
we go.
dropped around. Like I didn't really watch Lewis Capaldi. Sorry,
Sorry?
Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi. They have
I
this-
missed that.
You don't know anything about Doctor
I'm
Who.
getting triggered. I dropped off around him. Matt Smith, I kind of watched. David Tennant loved. Christopher Eccleston loved. And then I watched the old ones like growing up.
Right. Who's the one that has that? He has really scary eyebrows and he's like really pointy face and he's like. Meh.
Oh yeah.
That's
That's
Capaldi.
Capaldi. Yeah.
Right,
Who
Lewis
is
Capaldi.
actually in Lewis Capaldi's film clip
Are they related?
twice. He's in 2 Lewis Capaldi film clips.
Are they related
no.
though?
No, not at all. No, but they're both Scottish and their last name's both Capaldi. So
I
that's
would
why
say
people
they're
think-
probably related.
No, they're not. That's the thing.
What a
Chances
crazy
are-
thing! What a crazy thing to say.
But chances are
No,
they're
they're
both
not.
Scottish with the last.
That's
same
like
last name they got.
if there's someone else in Victoria with the last name Harvey, them and I are probably related.
Yeah.
Extremely unlikely.
Back in
reckon,
the
you reckon
day, I
Danny
would say-
Glover and Donald Glover are related?
No, but I'm saying like
I think
chances
you
are
did
if
say
you
that once
went.
on air.
Might have thought that was a
I
thing.
think you said that and you got pulled up by one of the producers and they had to explain to
And
you
I
that
said,
they're not.
really? I just could have sworn. Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah. There's a lot of old memories coming up.
There is. Can we not talk about every mistake I've made in my career?
Especially
please?
when this is supposed to be about Dave.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
this has been a very fun episode. It's gone a little bit longer than most
Yeah,
Meet the
it has.
Teams,
Yeah.
which says a lot about you, Dave. Even though we talked mostly about Doctor Who.
and Ray Kroc.
We didn't even touch on your pie game, which
I
is another
know.
part of it.
Oh, wow.
Well, we did interview you about the pies.
Did we?
I reckon we touched on
No,
the pies.
I've got to say.
No, I think we were
you've
going
got
to.
an in, you've
Or
got
did
an
I
Instagram.
say after we interviewed you about the project, I reckon the next time we met you was when we were chatting about this job, and I said to you, "Oh man, I wish I knew about the pies because it's so
Well,
funny."
yeah, we could have chatted about the pies, and then I've got to say, you went and you've got another pie correspondent
Yeah,
on
we
the show.
did.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
shit,
sitting
yeah,
back going,
true.
oh my god, what are the
Yeah,
We
chances?
have
yeah,
a guy
yeah,
called the
yeah.
pie guy on, but, like,
he is
you are
very,
actually obsessed with
he's
pies.
great. He's very passionate. That
Yeah,
guy.
Piney's pie
Yeah.
reviews.
But
I didn't even
basic-
think about
Dude,
that. I
he
apologize.
actually could go down as like Caller of the Year. I know, look,
He was great.
given we're recording this before Caller of the Year will be announced, but
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we called him.
When he said pie 57
True.
times in 11 minutes
Yeah.
or something.
that's right.
Just quickly, for those that don't know, so
Yes.
you've got your Instagram, and is it every photo?
It's exclusively me eating pies.
It's exclusively. So Dave's like personal
What
Instagram.
about when you get like I mean, you may keep it personal, but when you got married, for example, did
We-
you have a photo?
We had a pie for the wedding cake.
I love that.
Exclusively so I could get a
So-
photo with my wife and the cake.
So dedicated to the craft.
It's
It's one of those.
absolutely-
It's one of those pages where, and it might come in the future. It deserves to be bigger than it is because the commitment to the bit. Like when you
Exactly.
scroll back,
It's
you
very
try and
good.
find one where you haven't done it, but you've
Yeah.
done it for every photo.
I think it's
There-
nearly 10 years.
Do you ever do?
Did you? So you started doing that before the podcast. Wow. Did you want to give your Instagram a plug so people can go see it with their own eyes?
Well, that's right. Well, there's the hashtag is hashtag Dave Piestagram.
Yep.
But I'm at Dave Warnocky if you want to find me on that, and
Yep.
it is just pies, which
Yep.
sometimes is hard because I've got to promote things like my show at the Melbourne Comedy Festival or something. So I've got to be eating a pie like whilst holding the poster or something like that to tell people to come to the show.
Is Piney's Pie Reviews like your sworn mortal enemy, or is it more of a mutual respect?
Mutual respect. Big
Yep.
fan of that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Love
mean,
that.
there's there's a
The
mutual.
pie, the pie of pies
Yeah.
is big enough for two people.
Dave,
Absolutely.
question for you: what is pie?
What is pie?
As in, not like
What?
I'm like
Maths pie.
mathematically.
Yeah, how
what-
far into pie can
how,
you do?
how far can you do on pie? I can't do math all.
I can do 3.
Is it 3.14?
That's as far as I can go.
15?
I haven't actually got it in front of me.
Oh, you got to bring it up. Just
It's 3.146.
1.5. I think it's 3.1415, and then is it like 789, something like that?
3.14159.
Okay.
Okay.
And then it obviously goes infinitely.
Just
Hang on,
around,
there's a place. I'm just trying to look up because there's a. I walked past a place the other day, and it was going on and on about its pies out front,
is
and I
that
thought
on,
of you,
on
and I thought,
Burnley Street? You been to that one?
No, which
yes,
one?
maybe it's that
Magnum
one.
Pie.
Is it that one?
Yeah, it's a Magnum
I think
Pie,
I
like
may
Magnum
have
PI.
driven up that one.
Oh, no,
Yes.
Magnum, that's great.
And it has that out
Yeah.
the front. Pie shop.
Oh, I'd
Yeah,
love to
Magnum
get-
Pie.
And I saw that, and I thought of you, and I was like, I wonder if Dave's been there.
If you could send that to me, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to check it out.
No, it's like apparently I've not been there. It's quite near my house.
The
Actually.
other, the other
Wow,
one
it
in
looks
Richmond is
fancy.
Keith's Pies, which used to have the tagline "Famous for pasties." I wasn't sure if they're in on that or not.
Because I always thought South Australia was big on pasties, but I think there are pasties in other states.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think we go big in South Australia. We go big on pasties.
You go big. Well, you've got a
Yeah.
good pie game too in Adelaide, the
Great pie
24-hour
game.
bakeries. Oh
You-
my
it's, a,
God.
it's a shame that you weren't on the team when we did that back in Adelaide. We did the best pie in South Australia, and
What was the winner? Yeah.
what was the winner?
Lamb Shank Pie, Two Wells Bakery.
Did that win?
Mhm.
Yeah, lamb shank pie to us bakery, which is where I'm from.
And it's my nana used to work at that bakery.
Yeah.
And there was
And it
no,
was
there was no
it was
palm greased.
unbiased.
She was far gone from
Yeah.
working in that bakery.
Yeah,
By that
but
point,
you would have loved it. So we whittled it down to 4 finalists. We went north, south, east, and west, and then we went and it took way too long. Like it took, I think it was a 12-hour day because
time.
Port Elliot Bakery, which
Nova?
is like 3 hours away from Two Wells, and we drove all over the
No, it's that
state
fresh.
in
Yeah, I was
one
like, I
day.
don't
It
remember
was that
doing
fresh,
that.
and we reviewed pies.
That is incredible.
And fun fact, Belle's also eaten a pie at the Two
Two
Wells
Wells
Bakery.
Yep, big meat pie.
When we went to
I did.
award George Alice
Yep.
with Unearthed High winner. She's ducked in for a sneak.
No, we all stopped for food, and they had like one soggy-looking old salad roll, and I was like, "Whoa," and then I thought,
And Belle
Well-
saw this juicy meat pie. and
I support
thought,
that decision.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just looking Burnley Street. There's like there's also Keith's Pies.
doing
like
cow?
there's heaps of
Yeah, that was the cow
But there's
crying.
2 places near each other you can smash out 2 in a day if you wanted.
I'd love to.
But I have texted you that.
Oh,
other
thank you. If
place.
we
Excellent,
could somehow, like, if I could use my role to creatively produce you making this segment come to Melbourne.
Yep.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah.
the Best Buy Melbourne.
Oh, best pie in
I'd love
Melbourne.
to do that. Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Who's that guy that keeps being in the background?"
Bunny's pie reviews. Yeah, let's do it. Anyway, Dave, thank you for joining us on this special episode of Meet the Team.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It was nice. I felt like it was a nice moment to clap.
Yeah.